The Flick Network. We watch movies. We talk movies. Your online movie friends. The Flick Network.
Welcome back to the Flick Network, where we watch movies so you don't have to. They're bucket list movies. It's on a poster. You don't need to watch this movie. I warn you now. My name is Dave Moore. Joining me, of course, is Not So Shy from Shy from Not So Shy.
Hi.
Hi. Also joining us is electrical engineer by day, Jeff Daly. By night, hi Jeff.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, you know.
No, I don't know. Tell me.
I mean, it sounds like you just finished the movie.
I did. Thanks for asking.
Shy, sounds like you watched this movie today.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did. Shortly today.
I watched it last night, right before bed. So I didn't get to vent any of the psychotic imagery that I had to watch out of my head. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you.
Sleeps.
Yes,
Do you have
Jeff.
any funky dreams?
No, thank God. No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, all I had to do is
Did your dreams partake in a little of the old ultra violence?
I had to stay up thinking and contemplating like how ridiculous and how stupid this movie is, which is maybe a thing. Like you guys get to just like get that out now, and I had to like stay up and think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My plan was to watch it yesterday. It just didn't happen.
What do you end up getting to fix your internet, Dave?
I got the Google Mesh network.
Did that
cool.
immediately fix your issue?
It did, and it was very easy to set up. Other than my printer that's telling me "F you," I hate printing. But that's an HP problem, not a network problem.
So it was your router that died?
I still have questions, Spectrum.
Sounds loaded. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot.
What are your questions, Dave? You replaced it. It worked.
My questions are: why did the network still exist? Why was everything still routed to it? Why is the only thing that didn't work was the internet coming to it? I know, Jeff. I know.
The network still existed because your router still outputs something regardless of what's inputted.
I think Spectrum hated my router. Anyway, we got
I think the router, the Wi-Fi has nothing to do with Spectrum.
Okay, well, I got two.
That's questionable now.
I got the 3-point system. I have internet out of my yard now. It's awesome. Yeah. So
what was it a good spend of money? Would you say?
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Hi. We're talking about movies here. I swear we'll talk about movies.
We gotta have a tech podcast at some point.
Oh,
So you got Google Mesh and not Google Nest?
It's Google Nest. It's the new Google Nest, the new ones. Okay, but
Wait, I thought Nest was security. I'm confused.
They keep changing their names. Just blame Google. They're stupid. They don't know what they're calling things. They also call their thermostats Nest. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so it's Google Nest Wi-Fi Mesh Network. It's like little circular point pods that you plug in and then gives you Wi-Fi throughout, like from those points. So they're like separate little routers.
I've seen them in Costco sells.
Yeah, so I wanted like a solution like the next morning. Okay, Jeff, right? So I head my way out to Best Buy. Okay, but the price on Amazon is $211. Okay, for a router, which is a lot of money, right? Like it's a lot of money. Okay, but the price at Best Buy is $350.
Oh my goodness!
So I'm like, well, maybe they'll match it. Okay, but every single Google Nest router being sold by Amazon is being sold by a different company on Amazon. It's not ever being sold by Amazon. Everyone's got it listed for $211, but it's not going to arrive for 4 more days. So, am I going to pay an extra? Am I going to pay $350?
You got 3 points?
Yeah, I got 2 points. 2 points. 2 points in one router. So it's three points of access. The point being, I wasn't about to not pay $211 to have it delivered 4 days later. So I was just out of Wi-Fi /TV /everything for 4 days because Best Buy wouldn't match it. Thanks, Best Buy. They're the only ones who even had it in stock, and it was $350. I'm not paying that much more. I'm not paying.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
I'm not paying
That is
$100.
absolutely.
I wasn't paying $140 more to have it.
No.
Then.
That's gross.
We could have done the show then, but I wasn't.
So you couldn't find one listing that said sold by Amazon.
No, literally.
Wow.
Everyone was like Tiger Deals, the electronics store, the Amazon guys who sell things on Amazon, but not Amazon.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's great. So I had to wait. I got a router. It works. My internet works. I got to watch A Clockwork Orange.
It's an exercise in patience. It's fine. Everything's for a reason, right?
It was
yeah, it is.
It was a thing. I had one computer in the house with internet, and I had to use 5G on my phone for everything. And I'm like, I'm not watching this movie on my phone.
You could have no, because that takes internet. Never mind.
You could have had. You could have gotten a.
I could have run a cable from my modem all the way up to the TV. I could have done that.
Yeah, that seems like a lot.
Well,
depending
what
on
I
the
would have
location.
done, Dave.
What did you do?
This is me being just me.
Oh,
I would have bought another router
and then
just
returned
used it for 4 days and then returned it.
See, I don't want to do the setup twice.
That's funny.
I understand the thought process though, Jeff. That is a choice. So how's everybody feeling about A Clockwork Orange?
It was
Stanley Kubrick directed, same director as The Shining / Full Metal Jacket.
I need you guys to go first. Somebody else go first.
Jeff, please go. Please elaborate on your feelings on Clockwork Orange.
as a movie. I want to know where they got that furniture from at the milk bar. This whole movie is
that's what you want to know, Jeff. That's your number one.
Is that the main thing you want to know?
It's like if I had a dream and I woke up as a strange dream, it's like a dystopian, non-dystopian future, right?
Yeah.
It's like a weird dystopian, non-dystopian futuristic Britain, and it's like they're speaking in the craziest language of English that I've ever heard of in my entire life.
I love it. Okay.
Oh, what? I'm sorry, what?
I actually really like it. So it's apparently a combination of English and Russian.
Okay, you really like the crazy nonsense accents that all these people.
I think it's nuts, but
it's not the accents; it's how they talk. He's like, perchance me and my fellow droogs were opening up the fellow Milk Plus bar to get a radiation from.
Oh, like you're talking about the slang.
The slang.
4 minutes. 4 minutes in, I pause the movie. I look over at Rachel and I go, I know what I'm going to say on the Flick Network. I already know what I'm going to say. It feels like you went to like a shady open mic night poetry, like a slam poetry session, and that like one person got up there that one like has like a really thick accent for some reason, and they're also just sputtering complete nonsense, and so you translate in your brain literally every single line of whatever poem they're saying, and once you translated the first line of the poem, we've moved on to line 20, and you're trying to keep up with like what's happening the whole time, and that's what the movie feels like. Like that's not even just his like narration, but just like the moment to moment nonsense.
I do feel like this movie should have came with like a thesaurus. Or not a thesaurus, like a thesaurus, like, or a dictionary or something. It's like a glossary of keywords. Your textbook has a glossary in the back. I think that's how this movie should have came.
The book is like this too, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
But the movie definitely just throws you in to a whole different lingo of knowledge.
I kind of
like
it
a lingo
though,
of
because
words.
Okay, so the reason I like it, so I'm kind of a word nerd, which is really stupid. But like I really like words, right? So not to say that these words are important or substantial in any way, but I think it's kind of fun to just kind of throw you in there and be like, eventually you'll figure out what all the slang words mean, or at least most of them, and enough to understand the story. And it's like, okay, I guess I'm just along for the ride. It's like if you went and visited this place, nobody's going to pull you off to the side and be like, okay, so when you hear this word, it means this. And when you hear this word, it means this. Like, no one's going to do that shit to you. You're going to walk into this place and be like, what the fuck did that guy just say? And you got to sit there and figure it out. And I kind of like that. You know?
I think you and I have very different feelings about this movie. I watched this movie in college. I know that I wrote a paper on it. I apparently blocked out 80% of this movie because all I remembered was like the torture thing. Like that's pretty much all I remember. It takes an hour to get to the point of the movie, in my opinion. I feel like we see a bunch of sequences of events that don't need to occur for us to understand the plot of this movie. Like, and because we don't even understand most of those events because they don't explain to us what the hell's going on at all. Like, even more of a pointless thing. Like, I feel like we could have jumped very quickly from, like, their horrible acts of crime, like breaking into that house, raping that woman, then getting caught, like, immediately instead. Right? Mm-hmm. And then right to, like, I'm in prison, but I'm being given this opportunity to go through this special treatment to be nauseated by violence.
I guess, like, they wanted to show more of the depravity and like the other guys and like all that shit.
I agree with you. I think that's why they wanted to show me more. I didn't need to see more. like that's where I'm at. I don't need to see them do all these horrible things. I don't need them to see them beat up an old guy just because. I don't need them to
for literally no reason.
It's a little of the old ultra violence. After drinking some Milk Plus.
I didn't need to watch them give multiple people the old in and out or whatever they call it. Like I don't need it. Like I don't need that in my life.
Talk about? I want a shirt that says
the old in and out stuffy wuffy.
But like, I wouldn't wear it in like a violent way. It would be more of like a consensual way. But I think that's so funny. The old in and out.
See, this is the problem. You're right. It's funny, but it's not supposed to be funny.
It's not. No,
it's not.
But like the actual term, the old in and out is oh God, it's so fucked up.
It's a fucked up movie. Like, and we can say that because like that's this movie. Jeff, please.
I don't know. Like I watched this entire movie, and first off, when it was first released in America, it got an X rating. As
I feel like that makes sense. No?
It deserves an X rating.
But here he replaced approximately 30 seconds of sexually explicit footage from two scenes with less explicit action to obtain an R rating.
Okay, I'm curious.
So it would have been like an X rate, like a porno.
Yeah, just about. Because of all, like, I will say, out of all the movies I've ever watched, there has been little movies shown nudity quite like this.
Like aggressive nudity.
It is it's aggressive nudity, but it's also like unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like this is the thing about movies, and this is something brilliant about movies. Like you don't need to show me. And I get that that's the point. Like I understand that that's what they're going for, is basically shocking me, giving me shock value, and like actually showing me the acts, but I don't need to see them.
Yeah.
You understand what happens in these movies, whether you see all that shit or not. And
that's true.
And I don't think it adds anything to it. Like they're
trying to like push envelopes and shit, I guess.
For what though? For like
I don't know. Get some award at the end of the year. I don't fucking know.
So this is the question I have: is like, to what end? It's amazing they made this and pulled it off in the 70s. Like, what?
Well, the 70s was a fucking whirlwind.
I still, to think that this movie went to theaters.
Yeah, that is kind of wild if you think about it.
Like, not to say, people haven't been doing wild art, and especially in the 70s, right? Like,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
people-
the 70s was like the 70s was like sexual liberation.
right, but like, but that's in like the old, like, random art warehouses of the 70s with the crazy people doing wild stuff. Like, that I understand exists. This got shown in movie theaters.
It surely did. Yeah, it did. Kind of nutso. But like,
it's like Stanley Kubrick, so directed this film.
Yeah.
So he wanted to. I mean, he was like one of those people who wanted to, like, he had a thought, he put it into action. He directed some great movies like The Shining. This is the same person who directed The Shining, and he was trying to push the envelopes of what
Yeah, but The Shining,
a movie is. But it's like he viewed the film as an art form to express different movie types.
I know we're not at The Shining yet, and it is on this list. We'll talk about The Shining at some point. Jeff and I both seen The Shining. I like The Shining. The Shining does things for shock value that feel justified in the world that The Shining has set up. This world makes no sense to me. Jeff, from an engineering standpoint, can we talk about the random ass steps? Please?
What
Please.
random ass steps?
In the writer's house in the first rape scene. No, I don't know.
No, the second one.
You're right. It's the second one because they keep doing horrible things, and I forget how many horrible things they did because they did so many horrible things.
No, the fact that I have to say it's the second rape scene in the movie is something to be called.
Right, but how many of those scenes do we need to get the point?
How many do we really need?
Right, like that's the question I have. We get it. One, you showed it to me multiple times. Okay. Also, the scene. Hold on. We'll get to that scene. I want to talk about the steps. Jeff, what's the deal with the steps?
The steps going up to the house?
No, the steps in the artist or the writer's house.
Yeah.
That are just like random nonsense sizes that just go up in like a random pyramid shape for no reason. Is it?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, well. Okay, that's fine.
I guess it's like supposed to be futuristic
I don't know.
design.
It's supposed to just be
Weird?
artist design.
Okay, just to be
It's
weird.
supposed to show that the writer was a far left leaning guy and that he was very liberal.
Yeah, all right, sure.
Okay.
That's what those steps.
Say
See,
so.
this is the question I have too. Is like every shot is almost in this movie just weird for the sake of being weird, and like they linger on things just to have me look at them longer, and I don't understand why, because if I don't know what the symbols mean, like the steps that apparently told me that this guy was liberal. If the symbols,
It's very artistic.
if the symbols are so weird, I look at them and don't know what they mean, then what's the point of the symbol?
Yeah, I feel that.
Like obviously, there's scenes where they're in like auditoriums and like the roofs are just weird for the sake of being like geometrically weird. Like
There's a lot going on in that house, Dave. And the thing you point out at the stairs.
Yeah, the steps.
Not like the couch pod that the lady's sitting in.
No, Jeff, the couch pod doesn't bother me nearly as much as the steps. Also, considering he gets put in a wheelchair by the end of the sequence, like by the end of the movie, right?
Well,
like,
you know why he's in a wheelchair, right?
yes, I understand why.
But those pyramid stairs, what's wrong with them, Dave? I'm looking at them right now.
They don't make any sense.
They're just artistic.
They're just
it's
stairs.
a whole artistic
I mean,
house.
they lead somewhere, don't they?
Yeah, to like the upper level. It's like
It's a 3-level house. Yes.
yeah, it's a 3-level house, and they go from the bottom level up to the second level.
Apparently, you've never been rich before, Dave, because apparently a lot of rich people are like
Sometimes there's
this.
just stairs for no reason, Dave.
Have you ever heard of Andy Warhol?
I don't want to navigate these stairs as a blind human.
Yeah, me
No,
neither. You know
it's
what I
not
hate?
for the
Wow,
blind.
random side note. You know those houses that you go into that have like, okay, I'm in the living room. Okay, let me step up to go into the kitchen, and then I'm gonna step down to get into the dining room, and then I'm gonna step up to get into.
Oh,
like,
I was on a deck like this, Shy.
I hate it.
2 weeks ago. Like I was on like a deck, and it was like 4 levels. Like the house is on one level. You step down, and you're in like a little pocket, and then you step up onto the other side, and then you're on another level, and then to go down into the yard, you have to step down to another level.
Yeah,
It's-
like what's the point? hate
I
that shit.
literally, and it's all made out of the exact same material. You cannot see the lines. Oh,
My
I
aunt's
almost
house is
I almost
like that.
lost my shit.
It's like you walk in and then you step up to get out of the living room, and then you turn to go to the bedroom hallway, and you just step down to get to the bedrooms, and then if you come back out and try to go to the kitchen, you got to step down to get into the kitchen, and then you got to step back up to get into the den and outside. It's like why why? So
yeah.
think of it like that.
Yeah, it's just like it's the epitome of annoyance. Speaking of,
So anyway,
okay, go
to
ahead.
talk about this movie,
Yes, please, Jeff.
Yeah.
it is the whole underlying trope is it has a lot of violence in it. It has a lot of people being beat up, a lot of people get raped. It has weird sculptures of human furniture in the milk bar. That's absolutely crazy. But the whole overlying trope of the movie is basically what's good and not good, and is it moral to use like the aversion therapy like that to stop the bad behavior, the quote unquote bad behavior?
Basically, what I understood was like it's about whether being good is a choice or not, I guess, or whether it should be a choice or not.
It's more along the lines of there's a society, right, that deems what is good and not good.
And that applies to all societies, not just this weird, crazy, ridiculous.
There is every society deems what is good and not good, and so the aversion therapy will bring you quote unquote good based on the rules of the society.
Or into
Well,
line.
is it a moral thing to do to adjust people's behavior to fit what the society deems as good?
You're basically taking away the illusion of
Free will.
choices,
like
and
the
actions and
Reverend said,
individuality.
free will. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I looked it up because I wanted to know like what the whole, what the title meant.
Yeah, I still don't know.
Clockwork Orange. So it's basically that. It's like you take something organic and natural and you put mechanisms in it. You make it a machine. So it's like, you know, if Alex is naturally this way and we manipulate him into being different, is that okay? Or did we just do something wrong? Did we cross a line?
Yeah.
Is the point of it.
So the first half of the movie shows, hey, this guy's violent. He's a crazy guy in a whole violent world, and the government uses him as a test subject to make them to sculpt him to what they think is a good person.
Mind you, to set him up in a presentation where we bring out a naked woman and he has to stare at boobs, and we have to stare at boobs with him for a very long period of time.
For significantly too long.
Like way too long. Only to wait
boobs
for.
are great. Don't get me wrong, but like, it was a long time.
Glad Shy can say it.
And the whole second part of the movie lights on that, but also lights on the fact that if you sculpt a person into what you think is a good thing, and you throw them in an environment which doesn't bring up to those facts, where you just throw him on the streets and say he's cured, and every step of the way he's constantly like brings up their past, or he's in an environment that doesn't help that, you can go back to your old ways. You need to not only be cured, but you also need to be in an environment that, you know what I mean? He was quote unquote cured, and by the end of the movie, he was cured back to his old self after going through a whole half movie's worth of people abusing him back.
Yeah, well, because it's like we've taken away all the quote unquote badness in him, right? But it goes back to that free will is like now he can't choose to be quote unquote bad even to protect himself. And it's like that's kind of not fair. You know?
No, this doesn't really work. Yet at the same time as Alex was so horrible that I literally can't feel bad for him.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I can't. And
Yeah.
I do this every week. I'm emotionally invested in the characters, and when I hate every single person in the movie, I have a hard time enjoying the sequence of events. And Alex, only for an hour of the beginning of the movie, proved to me how horrible he was. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I watched for another 45 minutes, watching him be tortured into being confined to do what society wants him to do, only for society to beat back on him, which I feel like he deserved, because that's how I evaluate it, because I'm an emotional person, right? And so even though he doesn't necessarily deserve to be beat up by society after he comes back, he still is, and he probably still does deserve it, because those people weren't like wronged by him. You know, he didn't
Yeah, especially the other dudes in his gang that became cops and shit. Like like you screwed him over. Like
yeah, like he also didn't like beat up and rape that guy's wife, and like for him to do for them to do nothing, all these people to do nothing to him when he comes back is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can't cure somebody and throw him on the streets and expect him to stay
quote unquote cure, right? Like
it's a cure is a strange word to use. But it's kind of all we got.
You know why they call the film A Clockwork Orange, right? It sounds nonsensical at first, right? But they kind of. So the whole thing of the name Clockwork Orange is basically they molded him into a Clockwork Orange to where he's organic and human on the outside like an orange, but on the inside he's just a machine inside that's molded to what society wants him.
I'm going to turn on the red on air light because you just repeated Shy.
Yeah, I said that already.
I don't remember. I don't remember. I was too busy just trying to. This movie is crazy.
It's all good. I feel like I would have had a better time had I read the book, because I wouldn't have to have actually literally see the things, although I would have still imagined
it depends on if it's described in the way the events in like City of God are described in the book. I guess it would depend on that. If it's as descriptive as city God,
City of God, yeah,
City of God. I wanted to add an to it for some reason.
City of God.
Yeah, if it was described in the way that book is described, then I don't think
I would be as miserable. Yeah, but like so, I'm torn, right? Because I really like the moral questions that are in place here and the things that the author was trying to do. I'm not sure that I'm in love with the execution of the film, but I think that the actual story is really interesting. Is it my favorite thing in the world? Am I obsessed with it? Like, no. But I think it's really interesting. And I'm not sure that the film adaptation is the direction I would have gone with it. But it's also like just a strange story in general. So I feel like no matter how we brought it to film, it would have been a strange experience. So
his entire goal was to just bring weirdness to film. like that's the thing. And I agree with you, Shy. Like the questions we ask here are fascinating. And I'm interested in all of that. But I had to watch sequences upon sequences of events that I don't like. I'd rather read the book. I'd rather get that stuff from something else.
Yeah.
I'd rather sit in a psychology class and debate this.
Yeah, I feel like I'd have so much fun doing that.
Yeah, me too. But watching the movie, no, thank you.
I
Yeah.
heard that I don't know, I've never watched or read the book. Or the book was kind of similar in violence.
Well, yeah, because I mean, he got all that stuff from somewhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just whether you literally need to see it or read it, and like how much is described and like how much detail is there.
Yeah.
Like it's all of that stuff.
Yeah, it's
That
go
makes a
read
difference.
the baby chopping sequence of City of God, Jeff, and tell me how you feel if you want
Mhm.
these sequence of events. Calling it the good old in and out, right?
Mhm.
like if that's
I'm
what if
gonna
that's
go on Teespring and make a shirt that says
the old in and out.
the old in and out.
Mhm.
It
So-
like if it's
so-
described, like if that's all that's described, that'll be fine, right?
Yeah.
But if we describe like the literal ripping apart of their bodies, right, of what they're doing, like then I have questions.
Yeah.
So, yeah. This whole movie is crazy. There's a lot of underlining tropes that Stanley Kubrick was laying down over this crazy
Can I say my favorite part about the
violent
movie?
movie. Yeah.
My favorite part of the movie is him being tortured to watch horrible crimes of violence. To be like that sequence of events where he's basically screaming his head off because they're playing Beethoven, right? The knife. Like that sequence of events is done correctly, makes me ask the right questions, and I feel like I was subjected to the beginning of the movie and he's just being subjected to watching the beginning of the movie like forcibly. But like still like that part of the movie I like to question it, I like to think about it, I like to like analyze that sequence
It
of
is
events.
interesting. Honestly, so like you said, like you were not conditioned to feel bad for this character, right? Like you're not invested. I don't think I felt bad for him per se, but I think it made me uncomfortable enough to where it prompts the questions that the author is asking. Like I don't necessarily feel bad for him and like, you know, wanna, you know, give him a hug and tell him it's okay. Like, no, you're a shithead. Like, fuck you. But I
Alex can suffer for all I want, right? I don't care
But,
about
like-
Alex, but you're
but
right.
like, so it's hard to say because it's not like, oh, I want, because if he would have just gotten like thrown to the wolves and like beat up by other gang members and like maybe raped by some big dude or something, I would have been like, ha, you got what you deserved. But then when it's like this thing that he quote unquote volunteered for that was supposed to quote unquote fix him, and you watch it happen and you're like, this is fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, he's disgusting, but is it worth this? Like, this is shitty. You know what I mean? Like, it gets to that point where you're like, I'm a little uncomfy right now. And I feel like that is what the
core.
author wanted. And I feel like that's what really kind of pushes those thoughts to start turning around in your head where you're like, yeah, this guy is really shitty, but like, this is also really shitty. Like, what do I do with that now?
I don't like this movie. I will say that like confidently, like I don't like it. But like I enjoy the questions it asks. I think it does do a good job of making us ask those questions.
Yeah.
I don't know if it needed to go as hard as it did to get me to ask those questions.
It went hard in the paint for sure.
But it like I almost wonder if it like and like movies like Ex Machina, like other science fiction, other kinds of these things, like I think ask some of these questions in a better way. And like I don't know if this one being so blatant with it necessarily makes it better. I think it does what it needs to get me to ask these questions, but I don't know if that's important. Like, I think you could have made me ask all these questions more
With
subtly.
like a little bit less.
Yeah, like a little bit less.
Yeah, I feel like it's provocative, but it's too. It's like.
It crosses a line.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very, and for some people it might not. For some people it might be like right on the line.
Okay, but
you
for
know?
the people that it doesn't cross the line, those are the people I worry about. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing.
I suppose. But I think if I had, now obviously, like I said, haven't read the book, don't know how detailed any of the descriptions are. But I think if I had read the book, because I've read some pretty fucked up shit, I think if I had read the book, it would have been the right amount of provocative for me, and I would have asked those questions, and I would have, maybe read an essay on it and moved on with my life. But I think seeing it visually in a movie was like too much, on top of all the crazy choices they made with the imagery and the stupid shit like the furniture and like all that stuff
and the steps. Don't forget about the steps.
And
I don't know why the steps bother me so much. They just
those
do.
steps bother you so much, Dave.
It's like all of that on top of the fact that it's so much is what turns the movie off for me. I think if I had just consumed the book, which I put on my wish list, by the way, and I may just read, I think I would have been fine, because I was like, I'm a big literature person.
I think you're right, Shy.
And all that shit. So I feel like I would have really dove into this book had I read this first instead of watching the movie.
Jeff, how do you feel about this movie? Did you like it?
Like is a weird word, isn't it? I can appreciate it for what it is.
Okay.
Do I need to watch it ever again? No, I don't.
I've seen this movie too many times.
You've watched it twice. It is crazy to look at, right? For in the terms of morality and everything. So what Alex is doing is wrong. It's viewed by the government as wrong. He gets trialed for it as wrong. But if the government does it, or the government, like either side of the government tries to like use him to further their own means, it's not viewed as wrong. When they basically tie him up and subject him to watching these horrors, it's not viewed as wrong under that terms of the government.
Yeah, and they ruined something he loved too. He loved Beethoven.
Yeah. So they're basically saying what he's doing is wrong, but what they're doing, even though it's not as bad, but it's still wrong, it's torturing a person, it's changing their whole mindset.
I don't know if it's I feel like both things are probably yeah, never mind, I take it back. You agree. I agree with you, Jeff. You're right. What they did is not as bad.
And then at the end, note that the current regime wants to use him to better their image, because they have a bad image because he tried to commit suicide from listening to Beethoven. And the left side wanted to use him to say they damaged the government, saying, hey, they tortured him so much he wanted to commit suicide. So it's just them both the government, like the left and right side, using him to their advantage. And it's not viewed as illegal or wrong.
Yeah. Really interesting, honestly. That's why I said, like, I feel like the book would have been like super meaty, and I would have like senior AP Lit me would have like wrote a really good essay about this book.
I think in college I evaluated this movie very differently. I remember hating it. But that doesn't shock me.
Yeah.
I can appreciate it for what it is, but I do not need to see it again.
I don't need I would agree with that.
Here's the ultimate question, my friends. This is the ultimate.
I don't know.
Here's the question.
Does it belong on this poster? I can't reach it. It's too far away now.
I will say that this poster, much like Blade Runner, pushed the boundaries of what a movie can and can't do. and I'd view it as more of like an art piece of a movie than just like an action or, you know,
I don't.
any other type of movie.
There are other movies on here on this list that lean into this shock value. There are other Stanley Kubrick movies on this poster. Okay?
Yeah.
This one,
So
I don't need this here. I don't think this belongs here. I don't think that everyone needs to see this movie. If anything, I can think of a million people in my life, and like I definitely know a million people. I definitely didn't exaggerate there at all. That don't ever need to see this movie. Like I don't think everybody needs to see this. Like to call it like bucket list means like it's important. Everyone should see this. Like that's how I view that list. And I don't think that they need it. Like I just don't.
I feel like okay. I feel like God. I really want to read the book. I feel like it's a bucket list story, but it is not a bucket list movie.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
It was. Did you know in 2020 it was put in the Library of Congress?
Oh, cool.
It was chosen to be preserved. But I will say, much like other people say, I will not forget this movie. And it's a movie that's entirely different from other movies that you can watch.
I clearly subconsciously blocked out a bunch of it. like I started, I was like, I watched this movie. I remember the torture. Like I remember the thesis, right? I remember the paper that I wrote, but I don't remember the sequence of events. I'm like, this is so awful. I've never seen this. And like, yes, I have. Dave, you wrote a paper on it. I'm sure you can dig up that paper.
Okay.
And I will say, especially in today's day and age, it's definitely a very different undertone than when it was released.
It hurts. This is not a political podcast. I'd like to establish that the Flick Network and the Snack Network are always here for fun and shits and giggles, and not this. But like in today's climate, with the government in the position that it is, this doesn't sit very well. Like it doesn't help. It doesn't help that the government's current state in this world that we live in.
It surely does not.
Yeah.
I feel. Okay, question. I have a question. Shy has a question.
Shy has a question.
Yeah, I want a jingle. Shy has a question.
All right. Working on it.
So, do we think? Okay, which movie would we rather rewatch again?
The ones that we've watched so far.
Blade Runner or this one?
Oh, I'd rather rewatch Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
I hated Blade Runner though.
I think I'd get more out of Blade.
Rewatch this
I
movie.
don't like Blade Runner. I don't like Blade Runner either. I didn't like it very much, but I think I'd get more out of watching it a second time or a third time, like, than I would. Like this, I saw enough. I'm done. I'm out of a Clockwork Orange. I never want to see Alex commit another crime ever again. I don't want to hear
just
the term,
a little old ultra-violent crime.
A little bit of a weird Russian British accent that turns into the old ultra-violent violet. I heard violet 10 times, and I'm like, I know it's not, but I heard violet.
I will say, if this is a movie, if this is a list of movies that push the boundaries and like of what a movie can be as an art form, I'd say this movie belongs in the list. If this is a list of movies that I liked and would want to rewatch again, I would say no.
Okay,
I don't want to rewatch this movie again.
All right,
I think I would, if someone like gun to my head was like, you need to watch either Blade Runner or Clockwork Orange, I'd probably watch this one again. And I know that sounds crazy, but Blade Runner made me want to shoot myself. I hated it.
Wow. Okay.
I really did not like it.
Like
not literally shoot myself, but like halfway through it, I wanted to turn it off. Like.
Oh, I wanted to turn this off 10 minutes in. I was done after 10 minutes.
So, okay, but the thing with Blade Runner is I didn't like it because I was significantly bored. But at least with A Clockwork Orange, I was feeling things. They weren't positive things.
I never felt there was nothing. I felt nothing positive. Okay,
it was making me feel things and ask questions and think but Blade Runner just made me like make this stupid like like
What the F
like
is
it was
happening?
nothingness. It was just nothingness.
I don't think that Blade Runner asks us any deep moral questions.
No, and it does nothing for me at all.
Okay.
Like at all.
Blade Runner asks you a lot of like deep moral questions.
About what?
What is a
I
human?
mean, it does. Is like
No.
What makes a human, and what like?
Yeah. There's that, but like
I don't think
If
they
you
get
don't make a difference in
I
your
was
life,
bored
then what
the
are
whole
you?
time, though. The whole time, there was not one time where I was like, okay, this is fun. Like it, like
Not when he put bashed his head in the so. So
I
I
mean,
will
that
say,
was funny, I guess.
All right, but on a list, this is the bucket list. It says bucket list, 100
It
bucket
does say
list movies.
list.
Is this a movie that we think everyone? I mean everyone. Your mama, your 16 children. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, must watch this before it die. Before you
Yeah.
die. No, I don't think so.
Absolutely not. That's a hard no from Dave. That's a hard no.
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
We're gonna talk about our next movie, everybody. I don't know.
Yeah, what's the next movie?
Yeah, what's the next movie, Dave?
Let's move on.
It's a Deer Hunter. Deer Hunter.
Deer Hunter?
Deer Hunter. Is it the Deer Hunter? Now I have to look at the list. Jeff
That
That
has.
is
Name
the
of
Deer
movie?
Hunter.
It's the Deer Hunter. Everybody.
Oh. That sounds lame. I hope it's not as lame as it sounds.
It's not going to be as lame as it sounds. I don't.
Okay.
I've never seen this movie. I'm actually excited because I've never ever seen this movie. I don't. Maybe.
Why are you excited for this movie?
I don't know because it's on a list of exciting new movies to
Because
watch.
it's new.
It's new. It's
It's
new.
3 hours and 4 minutes long.
No, it
Holy
is not.
oops.
Shit.
You're
Yes.
lying.
It is 3 hours and 4 minutes long. It's an epic war drama film.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh, it's a war movie. No. That's why
It
it's
takes
3
place
hours
in
long.
Vietnam.
Because every war movie is doomed to be 3 hours long. That's just
Wait
how
until
war
you
movies
get
work.
Apocalypse Now.
I don't think that's on this poster. Although I'm sure it is now that you say it. This
It-
poster's
it almost 100% has to be.
okay.
right?
So where can we watch the Deer Hunter, Jeff? Because you're
I don't know, but it's here. Let me give you a brief synopsis
All right.
of the Deer Hunter.
all right. We're ready. Ready.
Hold on.
Okay, let's do it.
War
Synopsis.
movie. Let's go. War movie. Vietnam.
Oh gosh.
Violence. Ultraviolet.
It's an in-depth examination of the ways in which the Vietnam War impacts and disrupts the lives of several friends in a small steel mill town in Pennsylvania.
Okay. Can I say something that's gonna sound really weird, but I'm gonna say it out loud? No one said no.
Go for it.
God, this sucks. I shouldn't say. Okay.
Say it.
My favorite war.
Oh my God, Dave! That you can't. What do you mean?
Wait, everyone
My
has a favorite war.
war.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up. In America, we idolize this shit. We're taught it in school for years. Everyone has a favorite war.
Historically.
Like, yeah, that sounds really shitty,
Yeah.
but everybody has a favorite war.
Yeah, Jeff.
Every American,
Jeff, what's
anyway.
your favorite war? All right. I don't like war. War is
World
horrible.
War
I wish we
II.
could. I'd like to never fight another war in
See,
our
World
lives.
War II. See,
All right.
Here.
Oh, see, my favorite war, historical wise, like to follow and read about.
Historical wise, my favorite war was sort of the Punic Wars. That was way back when. Keep going.
I like the time period of the Vietnam War. I find it
Okay.
fascinating. I find it legitimately fascinating. Of all the wars, it's the one that I'm like, that's crazy. Like, that's crazy. We sent all these people over there with like no jungle training. They came back. We treated them like shit. Like, just like
Yeah.
the craziness that
It's
was
crazy.
happening in the U.S. at the same time. Like, that era of history is just fascinating to me. And so,
Yeah, I mean, my favorite war, which does sound shitty, is World War II, and I think it's because of probably the same thing. Like, obviously, it's absolutely disgusting.
all of it, it's horrible. It's all
Disgusting, right? So when we say favorite war, we mean favorite, most interesting to learn about.
horrible.
Like,
I hate that statement. I don't think that would ever come out of my mouth until like
Not
I want to go to a
It's-
I want to go to a high school history class so bad. like a senior high school history class, and I want to ask the question, "What's your favorite war?" I just want to know what response I get.
Honestly, it's so shitty. But like
I want to give this
said,
lecture. I'm going to write a book.
At least, yeah. But like at least in American school, I don't know what other countries do, but here in America, we learn about wars. That's pretty much all history class is.
It's just wars. It's literally battles.
From like fourth grade on, you're just learning about wars.
I took a year of military history in high school.
Literally. Like, what the fuck is that? You see? This is my point.
I like historical wars more than modern wars.
But that's what I'm saying is like the ancient wars are interesting along with the modern, like it's disgusting, but I don't know if it's an American thing. Like I said, I'm only an American. I can't really speak for any other country. We definitely do that shit. We and you know why we do that shit? Because they want us to sign up to fucking be a part of it.
You're right. It's all a manipulative bullshit. But that's this is the most fascinating conversation I've had on a podcast in like 5 years. I swear to God.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. I'm going to write a book. I have to write a book.
Let's do it.
I feel like
some research, dude.
Yeah. And this is not... And obviously, my forte would be to go make a documentary, right? Like that would definitely be more my speed.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to like document like the way people view it now. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like sure, the history is fascinating to me of all the wars, right? But like, God, that's weird.
It's so weird.
My head just broke. I watched A Clockwork Orange. I think that broke me as a human. Like, we're gonna go watch The Deer Hunter, everybody. We don't know where it's available.
Wait, where are we watching it?
You have to rent it somewhere. It's not free anywhere.
Okay.
Amazon Prime Video.
Amazon Prime.
From
how much
like
are they
$4.
charging for it? $4?
Yeah, for rental.
Does iTunes have AD? This is the real question, Jeff.
The Deer Hunter does not have AD.
Of course it doesn't. All right, accessibility rant of the show. I need a jingle. Accessibility.
Honestly,
oh my gosh.
If this movie, I'm just expecting like if it came out anytime before like the late 90s, it doesn't have AD.
It's so unacceptable in my book now. I like
That's
literally.
What I'm assuming.
Every week I get more angry about it.
And even the late 90s ones.
But I know, but there's literally these movies are from like this movie is from '78, Dave.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
who's gonna go back and do this?
It's on this poster.
The thing is they gotta pay somebody to go back and write it.
The poster company needs to do it. Somebody.
There has to be a non-profit that should be doing it.
You're right. We should start it.
Let's start a non-profit that writes AD.
We'll write a book. We'll take all the money that we get from writing the book, our favorite wars, and then we'll do this. This will happen. A Deer Hunter, everybody.
Non-profit.
Available.
AD old movies.
Available on iTunes, Amazon Prime Video for rental. That's what we're gonna do. Rentals are not that bad. It's probably also not that expensive just to buy it. Jeff's got a clickety clackety keyboard and a clickety clackety.
I'm trying to look up audio description for you.
Guys, this is the Flick Network. We watch movies, so you don't have to. We'll see.
I have a clickety clackety keyboard.
Mine is clickety clackety, but my mic is really good. So
you can buy the Deer Hunter HD on Amazon for $15.
I'm Dave. You can follow me at Tell You Dave. You can watch Jeff and I on the Snack Network. You can follow Jeff at Jeffrey Daily. You can follow Shy at Not So Shy. She's posting TikToks again, I hear. I am.
I'm back.
Whoa.
Whoop, whoop.
Don't call it a comeback. She's on TikTok. Well, I'll see you guys at some point. I know I'm a little inconsistent in posting these. It's because we missed a week. We'll get this scheduled out. We also end up always starting later than I planned because I'm me, and computers have to update. So I apologize. We'll see you guys next time here for The Deer Hunter on the Flick Network.
The Flick Network. We watch movies. We talk movies. Your online movie friends. The Flick Network.
The The Flick Network is a production of the Snack Network, LLC.